Happy sweaty August day, everyone, and welcome to Living with the Ancients. It's so warm today I had to wear a kilt just to get the extra breeze, you know. So what we're going to do to warm it up a little more today is we're going to do some fire by friction. In this case, we're going to be doing hand drill. So the materials that you need to make the hand drill are basically a spindle and a fireboard, okay, and then some tinder, some accelerant, and some other fuel to fuel the fire. You can make a spindle for your hand drill out of many things. In this case, I've experimented with hemlock, yucca, mare's tail, blueberry, goldenrod, cedar, mullein, and also cattail. And I've been successful with coals at getting coals with all these, except for the hemlock. Almost. It was maybe a little damp, but I'm going to keep trying. So anyways, the point is experiment with a lot of different materials. Some are harder, some are softer. Some, like the cedar spindle, is going to take a lot more downward pressure, whereas the cattail will take a lot more finesse and gentleness and awareness so that you don't just crush it. Okay, so those are the spindles. For a fireboard, you want to have some kind of softer wood. In this case, cedar works great. Try to split it so that the growth rings go this way instead of layering this way. As you drill down through, you want more of them to create a little more friction here, so you get a little more finer dust and whatnot created by that. Okay, so those are your two basic pieces. Then you're going to need some tinder. In this case, a red squirrel made this for us. It's a perfect tinder bundle, primarily of cedar bark. There's some flower petals, some bits of grasses, some leaves, seed heads, other kinds of fun stuff in there. Thank you, Mr. Squirrel. We love you for that. Other things, if you don't have a squirrel to make you one out of cedar and other stuff, you can use the inner bark of different trees. In this case, this is a black locust that was taken just near here. So you peel the outer bark off, you find this inner bark, fluff it up nice and dry, and that can be a great tinder bundle. Whenever you're processing your tinder, in this case cedar, what you want to do is take the bark, bend it, peel the outer bark away from the inner bark. So you can see you have the outer bark and the inner bark is here. And then what you're going to do is you're going to take that inner bark and you're going to take it, strip it out into small little strands. Little bug. And then what you do, once you have these nice little strands, begin to fluff it, fluff it, fluff it, so it becomes soft and cozy like a little nest for a baby chick or a baby's blanket, nice and soft. So you can do it this way, where you break up the fibers. And the more surface area you have, the more uninhibited the chain, the chemical reaction of the heat as it's transferred and the combustion is, the more impeded it is, the more chunky your tinder bundle will be, the harder it will be to extend that coal and blow it into flame. So you want it to be as fine as you can, nice and soft. And a way to test all these materials is you put it to your lips. And if you feel any coolness, that means there's probably some moisture in there. If it feels nice and dry, like this, you're like, you know it's going to be good, okay? Or at least worth experimenting with. Okay, so we have that. And, excuse me, another way that you can make that tinder, a friend of mine does this often, you make very fine tinder with this, it works really well, is take your knife or a rock might actually work better, and then you draw the blade or the stone across the bark like so, and you create a whole bunch of this nice soft wonderful stuff. Okay, so that's the idea there for the tinder bundle. And what we're going to do is we're going to place our cedar bundle inside this wonderful bark here, the black locust. And the more inviting and warm and cozy and soft you can make that for the coal, the better. The happier it will be and the more likely it will be to ignite. But before we even attempt to get a coal or anything like that, first we want to have our fire structure made. So we're going to do that right now. You're going to start with teeny tiny little sticks, like little mouse tail size or pencil lead size. Then you're going to move up to pencil size, okay size, and then, you know, as big as your wrist, gradually increasing the size, the diameter of the fuel that you use. You want to build the fire based on your needs. In this case, we're going to do a sweat bath today. We're going to do a little sweat lodge. So we're going to start a fire here to make a bunch of coals, and then ultimately to heat stones. But whatever the purpose may be, build your fire accordingly. So if you just need a small fire to keep yourself warm, that's great. If you're having a big cooking fire, you're going to want a lot of coals. So you are going to want to do something a little different. Alright, so here we go. I'm going to show you the teepee fire structure. Okay, so the ground is a little wet. We've had some rain here. So what we're going to do actually, to get this fire up out of the wet stuff here, we're going to put some logs down and build this kind of on an elevated platform, like so. Okay, and that will help it stay a little drier. Okay, so you have your platform. You can build this right on the snow. If you mound the sticks up high enough, then you can have a fire right out in the winter in the snow. In this case, so we have our little buffer from the wet. Then we're going to start with our pencil lead size sticks. So we're going to build those up, this into our teepee shape. Okay, very nice. So you can see we have our center there, our bark, a little bit of pine needles there as an accelerant, or another great one to use is birch bark actually. Birch bark is fantastic. And then we have our teeny tiny sticks building up to larger and larger pieces as we go out. Okay, so very good. That's the basic structure of the teepee fire. What we're going to do is we're going to make a little pie here. We're going to burn down into it and then carve a notch. So what you want to do first is carve a little indentation. I find making a nice little square here works nice, quick and easy. So basically you just make a little indentation to give the spindle something to kind of click into so it isn't sliding back and forth while you are doing the burning. I usually put it so there's a little bit of space in between the circle and the edge of the fireboard, so you can make your notch and have enough space for that spindle to twirl without sliding forward and popping out. There we go. Then you might want a little gription for your hands. Some people use pine pitch or things like that so your hands aren't as dry and slippery. Then here, just start to burn that in. Once you burn through that squeak, with enough downward pressure, you can start generating some more heat, and you start generating the dust, which ultimately forms the coal. So there, burn that in. Then you want to make a notch in the pie, roughly 1/6 to 1/8 the slice of the pie. And you want it to come up almost to the center of the pie. Not quite touching the center, but pretty close. Okay, so there you have your pie with your little slice out of it, almost to center. Okay, and there we have a coal. So then we take that coal very gently. We take our tinder bundle and we're going to add it right in to our tinder bundle. Just like that. So here we have our tinder bundle. Squirrel nest tinder bundle. So you just want to feed that coal, tinder, and oxygen. And there we go. She really wants the light today. Always when you're making fire too, you really want to have an attitude of gratitude, you know. Give thanks for all of the trees, the sticks, you know, the trees that gave their lives so we could build the fire, you know, and all the creatures that go into the making of a tree, the sun, the earth, the creepy crawlers, the little wee beasties, the bacterium, all that stuff. So we just want to keep all that in mind when we build our fire, just to make it that much warmer with love and that much brighter. Oh, and you can see those pine needles are taken right off. Fine accelerant. We'll close our door here. There she be.